All right, now it's recording.
Yeah, great.
So we'll
So
get
say
right
that
into it.
again. Say that again and act
I'll
like
get right into
you
it because
say
it's
it. Yeah.
what talking about. Okay, say what again? What was it? What were we saying about you?
Would you?
We both have painting
Yeah,
painting commissions.
we got painting commissions.
Yes,
Money,
yeah,
money is
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
We're rolling in it. Rolling in it.
yeah,
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 for
yeah.
sure.
And what? So what's your one? What's your commission?
It's a scene outside of uh my collector's favorite restaurant, and it's in France.
Oh, right, yeah,
Yeah,
right, right, right,
so that should be pretty cool. It's supposed to be very neo kitsch thing going on.
right, right, right.
But
Yeah, and I was telling you, I have to do a pulp cover. Someone liked the cover I did for my book, so I have to do one for his book. And we were
yes,
discussing how there's a deadline on it of sorts. It's not too serious, but there is a
right,
deadline, and I'm failing so far to do what I need to do to meet the deadline. Although I'm
right.
not really. If he's listening to this, I'm not really. That's sort of getting done. Don't worry. But it's oil paint, so it takes like you do a layer and it has to dry for like 3 or 4
Yeah,
days before you do another layer. And like,
yeah,
honestly,
no,
it takes a long time.
yeah. So you mean you paint it, and then when it's done drying is when your deadline will be over.
Mm.
Yeah,
And then even I like to scan them to get the proper detail, not just like take a photo. So that's like at least a week before you could even get it on the scanner
oh
without it being
hell,
tacky, right?
I
Just
didn't
at the
know
end
that.
before you could even do that. Well, yeah, that's what I do, anyways. But what were you laughing? Oh yeah, I
Beautiful.
was laughing. So it's sweet. It's a sweet pulp style. Like it's going to be like authentic looking,
Yeah,
60s, 70s psychedelic. And as we said,
sure.
Frank Franzetia, as you
Yeah, Frank
your
Fritz.
speech impediment when it comes to Frank Franzetia.
Yeah,
Frank
it's a,
Franzetia.
yeah, it's a bag of wine style. Yeah,
It's your
drink
problem with the
you drink
name of.
the you
But
drink
yeah,
the whole bag of wine and hate yourself. It's great.
but yeah. So that's our commission. We're big time artists. We're rolling it, as you said.
Rolling in
We
it.
don't waste time. We don't waste time here.
I am wealthy because of art, and you
So
should be too.
if you think I don't know, if you think we don't have the credentials to complain about Rothko when we're doing
We are
when we're doing Neo Kitchen,
professionals.
the Frank Franzetia.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Hold on, I had a few handy notes here. Let me get them up.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Marcus Roskowitz,
Yeah, Roscoe's.
Rothkowitz,
Yeah.
who changed his name to Mark Rothko,
Yes.
which is once again I would interject that if it was me and you're going to make up a new name, I would obviously make it like Argus Wolfhammer or something. Like he just goes changes a few letters. Mark Rothko, like
Yes.
you
Now
know.
now he sells he sells appliances, Rothko and accessories.
Well, he's been dead a while. Yeah, I mean, he killed himself quite dramatically. He took barbiturates and slit his wrists.
He did. Yeah, it was a little
In the
brutal. Yeah.
mm, he was dying. His heart was failing, I think, from drinking. He was like the
Hmm.
Pollock. He was a big drinker and smoker and all that shit.
Yeah.
Probably
And he refused
his
not to.
fraudulent nature. He was haunted by his own fraudulence, so he had to
Yeah.
destroy himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
He self negated. But so let's get into. So I mean, people would have maybe he's like a forgotten. He's a guy that we know from like art history that most people don't even know who he is at all anymore. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I still remember actually
Fair to say.
one of the first of these things I ever did. I was interviewed by that Milo guy, that guy Milo.
Oh,
Yeah, but I remember I
oh
spent the whole
boy.
hour talking with him and convincing him about the problem with modernism, postmodernism,
Yeah.
and abstraction. He's agreeing, and he's totally agreeing. And at the end, he finishes the whole thing with, "Oh, but I love Rothko. I just feel it so. It really affects me whenever I see it." And that's the way he ended. I was like, "Oh Jesus,
I
buddy."
bet you do, bud.
Yeah, I bet
You
he
know?
does exactly. Yeah, he is the type to love it. All right.
Yeah, I
Um,
actually I met him before when I had some well, I don't want to, it was a time ago, and there's some people he knew, there's some people I knew, and yeah, eventually
he's quite personable. If you just talking one on one,
he is.
he's quite funny and enjoyable. So
He is.
but
I mean, he's probably a federal asset, but yeah, he's pretty, he's funny.
well, whatever he is, even if he's not, he's just his opinions are shit. I mean, overall, like, and his
Yes.
behavior is terrible. But
Real bad. Yes.
yeah. But anyways, I mean, I shouldn't shit on somebody who had me on their show and all that. I guess, but whatever.
Well,
I didn't. I said he was somewhat charming. That's good enough. That'll be
Yeah,
my.
no, he's great.
Yeah, he's great. But anyways, Marcus Yakovlevich
Yeah, Yakov.
Roskowitz.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
Yakovlevich.
Yakov
So,
Smirnov. Yeah,
so he was it Lithuanian, was it?
yeah, Lithuanian.
He was of Lithuanian Jewish descent, and he emigrated to America.
Portland.
And what's that?
He
Oh, Portland, yeah.
immigrated to Portland, Oregon.
That's right,
Which,
Portland, yes.
yes. So it
Which
makes a
I
lot of
believe.
sense why he decided to take this nihilistic, deconstructionist approach that led eventually to a suicide, because that place fucking sucks.
Yeah, I've
It's a
never been there. But
beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, you got the Pacific Northwest and all that, and yeah, I'm not gonna negate that. Sure, that's beautiful, but Portland, Oregon, it's a place that when you go and see, you'll go and see like great bands in Portland. Like some of the sickest bands in the country come to Portland, Oregon, and you'll be having a good time, and turn around and everybody's standing like this, or on their phone or whatnot. It's just like, what a
so it's a somber place. Is that what you're saying?
it's a somber place. Yeah, somber's one way of putting it. Yeah.
So you lived there, did you? Or
I did not
were
live
you?
there. I did a couple shows there.
Oh,
Yeah, I did a gallery show there. I did a mural there, and I've done quite a few things there.
yeah. We it's from my original neck of the woods. Pacific Northwest is where I grew up north of that, but
Yeah.
we used to go to Seattle sometimes. We never went to Portland. I don't know why. I imagine
Yeah.
it's very sort of similar. Yes, I heard it sucks a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seattle's kind of all right. I mean, I don't know. I guess it was just the people I was with in Seattle were more like bro tier kind of people, and so they didn't
Right.
they didn't really get into the politics of the area, which is like self-hate, extreme self-hate, and so Rothko, right?
Yeah,
But
maybe they went that way from his presence, having wafted through there. Just everywhere
probably.
anywhere he's been, even for a day, has got the taint of his evil. There's nothing but they can expect nothing but decrepitude and descent into anarchy from there.
Yeah.
Anarchy. He was a bit of an anarchist, I believe. It's what he called himself. He probably more of a just generally lefty communist kind of a guy.
Yeah.
I mean, surprise.
Right.
It says in his bio his father was a hardcore communist.
Sure.
Um,
Russia.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And he was definitely involved politically, much like Picasso and most of the others. In fact, he was part of some group. I should list their names.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm not sure. We haven't really given a summary for anybody who doesn't know what he does. Anyway, so he's famous basically for painting stripes. Yeah. Pretty much all of his paintings are 2 stripes or 3 stripes.
Color swatches.
I believe they're even all horizontal. Did he actually go so avant-garde as to do vertical stripes? I don't know.
Yes, he did. Actually,
he did.
He did vertical stripes for the Seagram's murals. The very illustrious Seagram's murals. Yeah.
Right. And so his paintings, he does literally stripes. So like a stripe of color, another stripe of color.
Yes.
And these things sell for like 22 million.
Yeah.
Between like 7 and 22 million, I think.
Yeah. No, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
we can
art
discuss.
is a business,
Yeah, and he was a businessman.
You know what he was good
at? You know what he was good at?
And
same with Picasso, was the posing with the serious face for the bio photos. If you ever see a photograph of him, he mastered it. He really did. His face would I am a serious artist. Like I can't even take me seriously. Like he's got it down to a fine T. Like daring you and with his out there intellectualism or whatever, like haughty.
Sure.
And you can see that in the photo. He mastered that. That's the like 90% of the trick right there is to be his type of artist. What did he call himself? Surrealist, sort of. He began in surrealism and
abstract expressionism.
He was
And then he decided that that doesn't fit me either. I'm actually too unique to be fit into the mold of being of a time period. I mean, it's some of the most pompous things I've ever read of any artist in my entire life.
Oh my God, yeah. especially I remember reading about he had his he went in his high period. He went he called it mythomorphic, which was he became all about mythology.
Yeah,
and
you've seen those paintings, right?
Yeah, it's still just stripes. It's just like two stripes or one, three stripes. Yet they've got names like Oedipus and
Yeah.
well, I don't remember them all. Whatever, like things like a Sisyphus or whatever. And this is his mythical period. It's just what he names them. Like nothing. There's no
Genius.
Yeah. I mean, that's so clever, so tricky.
Well, it's the essence, when you're learning how to be a modernist tripe artist in your youth. They tell you that the essence more so is important than actually accomplishing a a embodiment of a character or something of this effect. So the essence is important with Rothko, which basically
the
means
essence is in what you call it.
Yeah.
Well,
The essence is like whatever you want to like project onto the canvas, and that's somehow more invoking than Botticelli, what have you.
Well, it's a good chance to discuss how the whole trick with this type of art is in the language used in discussing it or naming it, etc. Because there's a few little clips I got of mostly what he would him talking about himself and his art, and it just shows the kind of vacuous circles they go in using it. They use a few fancy terms, poetic, and then they end up where they started, and it just says in between it says nothing. So you have to be such a bubblehead to fall for it, because it's just like it's such an easy trick to make something that sounds flowery and interesting but says nothing. Like it's easy.
Did you watch the meditations? Is that what you're talking about?
No, what's that?
You didn't watch? Okay. I listened to this thing called This Meditations. I'm sure it was on NPR at some point, right? Talking about Rothko's work, and it's like just people in the gallery that they hold a mic up to when they're standing next to Rothko's, and I mean, you can just just imagine just the bloviation, the self bloviation of their like own intellectual resource, or so they think they have. It's amazing. I if you want to be like blistering fucking mad and just
I love that now.
Disengaged, listen to that, boy. I'll tell you what, you're gonna love it.
Well, let me recite some of the things he said about himself.
Oh yes, please.
He said he was displaying authentic coloristic values. That's like a simple enough thing to say, but even there, he's really said nothing. He's used a few nice sounding words, but he said nothing. It sounds like an authentic artistic thing to say, but he said nothing.
Very nice.
Here's one about his mythomorphic thing. It's a bit long, but I'll read it, and just to get it's like one paragraph. I insist upon the equal existence of the world engendered in mind and the world engendered by the God outside of it. Okay, so this sounds like epic. My God. If I have faltered in the use of familiar objects, it is because I refuse to mutilate their appearance for the sake of an action which they are too old to serve, or for which perhaps they have never been intended. So, what the fuck? He's saying nothing. It says nothing. I quarrel with surrealist and abstract art only as one quarrels with his father and mother, recognizing the inevitability and function of my roots, but insistent upon my descent. So he's rebelling against something or other. He's talking about
always. It's always about rebellion.
Recognize descent. I being both they and an integral, completely independent of them. So he's basically said nothing. He sort of signaled that he's a rebel.
I'm a reactionary.
And that he's doing something religious, maybe.
Yeah.
But really, it says nothing.
Yeah.
So that's amazing to me. Here's another one. Let's look at another one. I realize that historically the function of painting large. Oh, this is about the fact that he would paint giant canvases. His three stripes would be like on huge. I've never actually seen one. I remember Milo was carrying on about this.
I've seen a ton of them. I've seen a ton of them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what people say. It's because it's so large. It's so it's so
I'll
big.
tell you about it, but go ahead. What you're saying there.
Okay, so this is about the size thing. I realize that historically the function of painting large pictures is painting something very grandiose and pompous. The reason I paint them, however, is precisely because I want to be very intimate and human. That's so like he's intimate and human. Okay, fine.
I like the pompous comment, because he said that he's basically saying that these giant masterworks by Botticelli and Michelangelo, these are pompous.
Yeah, David and stuff, the big ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, so he's both insulted. he's both. He said something that's kind of nothingish, but he's included a faint insult to the old masters. He's blown a bit of smoke up his own ass.
Oh yeah,
and while saying basically nothing, saying he's intimate and human. Like everybody's that. Like, you know, like this is not the way a man talks.
I'm gonna press.
A man
X
relates
doubt,
information.
but, you know.
What's that? What are you gonna say?
I said I'm gonna press X the doubt on the humanity aspect, but you know.
Oh, he's just a weasel.
Yeah. No,
well, considering his background, he probably had a certain thing. Well, I won't go into that. To paint a small picture is to place yourself outside your experience. To look upon an experience as a stereopticon view, or with a reducing glass. However you paint the larger picture, you are in it. It isn't something you command.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Fine. Whatever. You know, nothing.
Well, you know, you're supposed to view a Rothko from like he said 18 inches away, but I think you're supposed to do it like 12 or, you know, something. You're supposed to view it from really close up because it's a massive, you know, blank or just, you know, it's a painting with like two splotches of color on it, and so you're supposed to.
What's the one you saw? What you went to the studio? Why did you go there? Just to where were you at the time?
I was a modern art museum, and I was trying to study how to like make money, and so
you're not the right type of person to.
Yeah,
but go on.
I mean, that's what you do. You go and you study the motherfuckers that are selling for like $20 million, and you're like, yes, I see the genius in this. I want to make money too. You know,
right? Yeah. It is all about money.
Yeah. So I went to what is it? It's not the modern Mocha. Is it the Mocha? Yeah, I think it is Mocha downtown Los Angeles, and they have some massive Rothkos in there. And so yeah, I did the bit. I stood that far away, and I did. I experienced it how you're supposed to. The paint is it's very soft, but it's not like he's trying to gradiate, you know, as well. And so that's what put a lot of emphasis into talking about, well, this craft. I mean, this is so unique how he did it. He would have to wait so long to paint the next stroke until it just built up. And it's like, wow, that's okay. So
I
time
do that with my little pulp.
Well,
I do that with my little pulp painting. I do. Everyone does
is
that.
time also like a part of the medium? Like, is it, you know, oil, you know, what's mineral spirit and time? Is that?
I've seen some of his ones, and they have a certain kind of depth, as in he's sort of chosen color combos that are kind of, or not even then tone variation in his stripes, which convey maybe a tiny bit of depth or something, which is what sort of like the Pollock with his throwing his splatters in such a way as to possibly to draw the eye across it, sort of thing. Like this, if we were to give them any credit, this could be the only credit we could possibly give them. But that's once again, that is one of a very basic grab bag of tools in the retinue of a proper painter.
Yeah.
He's completely ignored everything else, and he's not a genius for doing that.
Right.
If you can say that. And even then, with many of his paintings, I haven't even seen where he's employed that. So, but I did see a few where I thought, okay, he's done some kind of tonal thing here, where I can see how, with the average idiot, if they've already been cajoled and you know, warmed up with some art speak talk, that they can find an inexplicable reason to like it, to a certain degree. Like it only superficially in a childish, stupid way.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you look at a Rothko and you got some, you know, dork with a microphone up to you as you're looking at it, you're basically trying to impress the dork. And that's the real brilliance that you get from like staring at a Rothko is the comments you're going to make to the person beside you to make them think that you're enlightened enough, right?
Yeah.
So that's
it's already in the museum, and you already know it's worth 20 million. So even if you're utterly befuddled as to why that could be, you've got to. If you don't know much about art, or if you haven't reached our conclusions about art, which I believe are the true ones, but you would certainly feel obliged. So you're put on the
fight over that. I will put fists up to defend that. All right. What we say is the real shit. Come on, bring it.
I don't believe. I think we're obviously talking. I still have to fight for it all the time. Even like the little. I had another one the other day about Picasso. Someone started bitching at me. Oh, it was one. It was one of the really poor, quickie Picassos that literally
Fuck,
probably took him like an hour. I was like, I could do that in an hour. And then
fuck yeah.
some guy who doesn't know anything about painting or anything, but just wants to defend, the modernism or whatever, just jumps in there. Oh, I'd like to see you do it. Or he demanded that I do it right away and like post it. And I was like, you fucking little rat. I'm not doing something because you've demanded of me, first of all.
I'm just gonna call him a dork ass loser and say, you got a problem with it? Come at me. Come at me, bro.
Oh,
I'm fucking done trying to logically infer that these people can even grasp the concept of using your intuitive thoughts and beliefs about art and beauty instead of just trying to have a reaction that is just to create disgust and to reinvent, as they say, which really means just destroy and then shit on the ashes.
Well, to literally not believe what could obviously be done in a very, very, very short piece of time, that it could be done. So really belie this guy probably has never even tried to draw or paint anything, and is. Some people have no visual acumen whatsoever and just can't really do. I'm not to let him off or say, oh, the poor innocent fucking fool. It's more like he's still an ass with
Sure.
his demanding bullshit. But I mean, I if I ever had the time, I could just do it. We should, both of us could do that. We can make a video and demonstrate how quickly you can do a Picasso. Just like, like, and certain ones anyways, like you could literally do it in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't need layers of paint or anything. It's nothing.
There's a technique, I can't remember. God, I'm gonna have to. It's a term that is used. It's been used throughout, the classical period that a lot of the more well-acquainted modernist artists use. It's like fracture lines. I think that's what it is. They take a painting and they see where the movement is, and then they draw that out, and then they base like a abstract piece upon that. And because of the way that it follows foreground, middle ground, background, and moves the eye around the painting, it makes it visually pleasing, even if it's fucking garbage.
Yeah.
So there's a tip for you if you want to be a modernist artist. What I just told you right there, they'll sell you paintings in New York and Los Angeles and all these.
Well, even what you actually do is mostly irrelevant as long as it's shit and like maybe it has some kind of gimmick where you can sense you've thought about it for like more than a day maybe. But overall, it's all about who you are, your connections, and your politics.
Yeah, Rothko had all those things.
Yeah, let's talk for a minute about his. As I said, he was something of an anarchist and all that. He was very political. Again,
of course.
I hope I remember to copy it. There was a. Oh, this is it. In late 1935, Rothko joined Ilya Boletowski, Ben Zion, Adolf Gottlieb, Lou Harris, Ralph Rosenberg, Louis Schenker, and Joseph Solman to form the Ten.
The Ten.
You know what they do? Yeah, so it's like a quasi artistic, political, we're gonna shake up the world group thing. According to the gallery show catalog, the mission of the group was to protest against the reputed equivalence of American painting and literal painting. So that's a good example right there of saying nothing but it being sort of rebellious and shitty and insinuating to protest against the reputed equivalence of American painting and literal painting. Like, what does he mean the equivalence between American painting and literal painting, or does he mean between literal painting and their abstract painting? What, even this term literal painting, like it sounds insulting and like cheapening and limiting when he's just referring to all of art before his abstract expressions.
It reminds me of Greenberg's critique about Norman Rockwell, saying that, or what he said about Jackson Pollock. And Jackson Pollock is the true American, the best painter in America, or something to this effect. And then he shits all over Norman Rockwell and calls him like below, not even art, something like that, right?
Yeah.
It reminds me of that, where it's this is the way that you paint, is by transgressing against any form of symbolic work or figurative work
Yeah,
that still works.
literal
Yeah,
painting.
yeah, literal paint. Yeah, as in like putting paint to canvas, and that's it. That's all she wrote, folks.
Yeah. So
So
let
here,
me present you with my three stripes and
yeah.
my two stripes, 20 million. But
Yes, and you study it. You go there. You go to the gallery, and you're like, "Hey, $20 million sounds cool. I like Rothko." And your rich simian collectors that are there. They're all thinking, "I like Rothko too," because the guy that owns the studio I'm trying to like connect with, well, he also likes Rothko. So
yeah,
there you go. That's how it works. Social
yeah,
climbing.
yeah. They certainly totally overtook that whole scene a long time ago. So everyone knows that to some degree. I think
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of
for
people
sure.
carry on about the CIA thing
Yeah,
involving art,
yeah, right.
and that I believe I haven't looked into it that much. I believe there's truth to it, but it seems to be it started. I tracked it to starting with really Greenberg on his own, just by inventing this language that you can see being used here,
Mm-hmm.
the dishonest language. It was really the crux of the whole thing right there,
I
in terms
mean,
of selling it to the bourgeois.
who says that the stuff that Greenberg's saying wasn't like concocted in a smoke-filled room, like with the CIA involved?
Oh,
I mean,
is that what they say? I didn't hear
look,
that.
I mean, would it shock you?
Well, that way he started before. He started in like really early, like even before the 20s, I think, wasn't he?
Sure. Well, there
So
you go. That you've got
maybe, but like a bit
you've
early
got
for all that kind of thing. Maybe
somebody
though.
laying the foundation work to basically do what was done. Uh, you know.
Well, I see plenty of evidence for people of a certain inclination just working towards this, even those from other countries, let's say. So CIA involvement, I believe, is real, but not the full shilling. I wouldn't say it's
Sure.
the real answer overall. Let's say,
Yeah.
but it's part of it, definitely part of it.
Yeah. I mean, Rothko. I mean, I'm sure there was help along the way getting this work to be internationally recognized.
Well, in 1955, Fortune magazine named a Rothko painting a good investment. And this apparently is when he really took off.
Right. Yes.
Fortune magazine. So whoever was running that or in charge of that,
Right.
they cut a
And
little deal
then
there, and there you go, a good
and,
investment.
and then our friend Peggy Guggenheim came a knocking soon after, and of course, the rest is just history. You know what I find really funny is that there's this authenticity about Rothko, right? That you're supposed to believe that he was a struggling artist, and he had all these difficult situations in his life and whatnot. And then you come to find, oh no, he was really wealthy actually,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
very wealthy, like
yeah.
traveling the world recognized, had his own artistic, or his own um where is it when the not solo show, but his own retrospect in his lifetime as an artist, right?
Right, right.
So yeah, you kind of lose that rebel hero aspect when this comes into play.
Yeah, he had it cozy, but he drank and smoked himself to death, anyways. That's
I
for sure.
mean,
But
sure.
yeah, I mean, well, he sort of lived a bit rough, or he was like a rough character. He had all these trouble with his wife. He was married a couple times, I think, at least
Yeah,
twice. And there was like
he had a couple
the
kids.
second time he got divorced was due to impotence because he was drinking and smoking so much that
Yes,
he developed
that's right.
he,
I
he developed a
read
heart problem and became impotent.
that.
But he was such a swarthy, kind of evil looking character to begin with. Like,
Oh yeah, ugly
I
as
just
sin.
found he looks like a. How would you describe him? Like just kind of like a. I don't know. I should
Um,
I can think of things
yeah.
where I shouldn't say, but he just swarthy is the best way to describe him.
Yeah,
And but I mean, I've never seen any examples of him proving that he had any talent whatsoever. Like once again, you could say that of Picasso. Say he has his older
yeah,
paintings,
sure,
right?
right.
But there's certain ones that I never see any evidence of any talent whatsoever. Like Duchamp really didn't either, except for one or two kind of paintings he did that were sort of quasi-cubist that were almost a bit
I mean,
clever. or showed a slight
Yeah.
grasp or something. But he used to always Duchamp used to say,
Duchamp, yeah, Duchamp can paint for sure.
could he?
Yeah.
Are you sure though? I didn't see
Oh
one other than
yeah.
that. Other than one of those, I saw a couple that were kind of okay. But he used to say, I could paint like an impressionist since I was a teenager, like talking about himself.
I
And I never
mean,
saw
okay.
any amazing such thing out of him anywhere.
Well, I mean,
But
New Descending a Staircase is pretty talented
well, that's the
work.
one I'm thinking of. That isn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. It's as far as that goes within the realm of the gimmick and everything. It is well executed. Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's
sure.
the only one I can think of, or one, or
Yeah.
maybe there's another one or
No,
two that
I'll
aren't
give you
so bad.
that. There's not many.
No, and raving about how he can paint like an impressionist when he was young. Okay, so it's like, wait, where are these paintings? Like you're just talking
Yeah.
about yourself, like making things up. So Rothko, I really have never seen anything. Have you? That showed
No,
anything other than
his
stripes and
early
like
work looked like Chagall ripoffs.
yeah,
From
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
So nothing, not even like the basics of art.
what I find interesting about Rothko is that he said his inspirations were, Sigmund Freud and then a little bit of
Mhm.
Carl Jung, which of course, that's when he was getting into this mythology shit. But he eventually he got really hung up on Nietzsche, and I see that because with the death of God, you have the proof, and it's like Rothko's work. I mean that like this there is no God to be seen here. We are meandering in a godless world, and we have Rothko's on the wall to be inspired to destroy and sit in art in disgust.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
that kind of absurd, fraudulent slap in the face goes even beyond. Like, I'm not one for defending atheists generally. In fact, fuck them. Like, I normally totally deride or
don't
attack. Yeah, but even they don't
atheists
deserve a
BTFO.
world. Even their world doesn't really explain fully that kind of utterly fraudulent, childish stupidity. Is painting 3 stripes on a giant canvas and selling it for 20 million, and
Yeah,
this kind of carry on. Like it's
depression
and the
and
stupid
narcissism.
worse than that is listening to a stupid talk describing himself, blowing smoke up his ass, and with these haughty, inflections that just saying nothing at all. So the whole thing is like insulting and stupid,
You know,
and it's just like, it's like his, it's him getting away with it is like a kick. It's like kicking you in the teeth, like all day long. So even your average atheist, the atheists don't have no reason. Atheists would be more inclined just to do nothing and not paint anything. Let's say probably, but that would be more their true gig. First of all, Nietzsche was a big fan of art in general. Like,
you're going to
not
get
that he was I don't think he was strictly an atheist either. To be honest,
you're going to get the fedora crowd in here now, but
why? What are we? Am I straying into bizarre, stupid territory? I don't know, but I just think that he's not even beyond. Like you could say he's nihilistically in that territory and so forth, but like it's beyond even that. It's like it's like an insulting, childishly stupid, just I don't know, tears everything apart. Oppression.
well, he was definitely a critical theorist too, and I noticed a lot of similarities when I read Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. That the self-flatulation, the always being like, well, I was here and I said this and that's why I was able to move this and
Okay, well
these are the
let me
people
just stop
that
you right there because
compliment.
self-flatulation.
Yeah, like smelling his own farts.
Flatulation is when you fart.
Yeah,
First of all,
smelling his own
let's not
farts.
go
Yeah,
into Frank with idiot.
I said what I
No,
wanted
but
to
then
say.
you meant to say flagellation is when you like whip yourself. So you mean the opposite. You mean the opposite of this. You mean like self-aggrandizement or something.
Yeah,
right?
aggrandizement.
Self-flagellation is just like farting.
Yeah. No, I said
Okay,
what I said. I know what I said.
okay.
Right?
Sorry.
Look,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
Brandon,
like
I'm a wordsmith. All right. Let me just tinker.
Well, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. I mean, that's great. That's solid gold, really. But anyway, okay, go on.
I got none.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, it reminds me. Even people I know, like even say certain family members that are. I don't want to get political. We've already been extremely political, but that would agree with Rothko politically. Let's say I notice in them too. That's the way they talk, and if you're arguing with them, it's like everything they say is either blowing smoke up their ass,
Yeah.
arrogantly. They can't even. It's almost like they can't say anything without both insulting you and insulting something else, while at the same time, sort of insinuating that they're some kind of genius. Like it's weird. It's all that kind of our Greenbergian art speak thing. Like
I'll tell you
like
what.
what
I think it comes from NPR because I was what I was listening to, this meditations, this they were doing the NPR voice, the coming up next on him, she's doing this, right? And then when she started talking about Rothko, it was very, very dogmatic. And if you disagree, like, you're the asshole kind of stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
It's this tone that I have recognized with this world, this world of luxury beliefs and bourgeois boutique art, obsession, or
Yeah.
just that kind of stuff, like just
Yeah.
luxury beliefs kind of thing. It's this,
Yeah.
I'm doing this, and if you don't like it, you're a redneck loser with no teeth, and you probably smoke meth or some shit like that, right? And so
Yeah.
that's the kind of thing that I notice when I hear these people talk, is this, it's this self-aggrandizement.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's no humility. There's no humility.
No,
Yeah.
none.
So, like, say if you and I were talking about ourselves or our work, even, we wouldn't just be like, "Oh, it's," you wouldn't just say, "Oh, it's great." You may even feel arrogant about it,
Right.
or but you wouldn't just sort of talk and like every sentence is like trying to convince people through your direction and inclination that you are amazing. It's more like, you have to have it. If you don't have humility, then you're lacking a decent framework for any kind of middle ground of opinion at all. And you're just right off the bat, you're kind of being like a used car salesman and trying to influence. And
Yes.
there's the falseness is in the air immediately.
And I
But
notice it's a class distinction. It's class warfare, and it has, as the middle class dies, basically, the idea of a poverty mindset and bourgeois luxury mindset are going. I mean, that there is going to be like no middle ground for these people, and so that's basically what it is. So these are the kind of ideas that are for the ascended, and if you're not one of those, then you basically are a ground serf, to do my bidding kind of thing. And the work of Rothko is one of those class distinctions. You
but
put
it's almost like the language itself becomes infectious for them.
yeah.
The way of speaking that they've invented spreads amongst certain people as a way to talk and a way to present yourself.
Well, imagine putting a construction worker in front of a Rothko, and
Yeah.
putting your sniveling dork with his microphone in front of that construction worker, and what that person would say looking at the Rothko.
Yeah.
Just like,
Well, these days I don't know. It's pretty. I know a construction worker who has done up his house and this kind of thing. This is the guy that wouldn't even. He was in Amsterdam. He wouldn't even go into the Rijksmuseum to see the Rembrandts because he found the very idea that Rembrandt was any better than anybody else, any street artist, was upsetting and like, totalitarian somehow or something. So he wouldn't even go see them. He wouldn't even see them because I knew inside that if he saw them, he would be affected and he knew his world would crumble. His world of but yeah, and he's not your typical construction worker. He's not really. He's like a he's not the typical type. Actually, if I think about it, he's very. Actually, when I think about it, he lives on a large estate he inherited. So never mind. That's not a good example. Yeah, he does happen to work a crane in a construction site because despite the land he inherited, that's his job, and maybe that's all.
That's a very lucrative job, crane operator.
Okay. I don't know. Anyways, no, he's not a good example because he is actually sort of like, yeah, right. Okay, so maybe that's not.
I've met those people too. I know, the union types that are just like, I mean, your politics died 40 years ago, but you're still hanging on. Very neat. I don't know, like, what the fuck you even think you believe at this point, but it's fine. You do you, and yeah, I will laugh in the corner.
Well, we can't. There's variance of opinion, and what can you do? Things have had influence, and things have. They had a successful coup in regards to art, and Rothko has been but do people even know these days much about him or who he is? You said
I
there was a
think so.
scandal. You said there
Yeah.
was a scandal, but let's we should finish soon
Oh,
because we've covered them. What was the thing you were saying? Some kind of
yeah.
yellow something or other. What was
Yeah.
that?
Yes,
Tell me about that. 'Cause I don't know.
the inventor of the prestigious art movement, Yellowism, decided
Okay.
that he was going to make his movement known by declaring a Mark Rothko piece, one of his, as a potential piece of Yellowism, which I'm going to have to say. I mean, I don't like advocate destruction and vandalism and stuff like this, but I'm not crying.
So what did he do? What did he do? He spray
he
painted
uh,
it or
he took a crink marker, which is a very unique paint that is thick and it drips and it seeped right through this canvas of this $14 million Mark Rothko painting. It was one of the Seagram's pieces, actually.
right?
Yeah, all
And
this. Yeah,
so
and so
it's not removable. It's there for good or
no, they basically, you know, I would assume that they spent just ungodly amounts of money fixing that
yeah,
painting. I mean, they
a
said that
million or more.
they invented some sort of they invented some sort of cleaning technique
Or
to
they
get
just they
this.
maybe even cut it out. They may even cut the canvas and like somehow stitch it
Maybe.
together.
I mean, it was, yeah. There's no way to get
Or
the ink out of the canvas, but yeah, they, I can't even imagine how much they spent on this. To
yeah, yeah.
preserve this priceless work of wallpaper s like stained wallpaper that you call a Mark Rothko painting.
Yeah, but he's defeated them at their own nihilist, fraudulent
Yeah, that was great.
ideology towards art. Yeah, because he
He
is.
what
Who's to say he's not a brilliant man for doing that? Because there's no parameter of standard to measure him by. I mean, it
his
sounds.
audacity is brilliant. I like that.
Oh, well, obviously, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, he could. I'm sure he could write a nice paragraph about himself about
Yeah.
his
Oh, dude, Yellowism's got some shit, boy.
does it? Yeah.
Yeah,
So what happened to him?
I haven't read it in years, but when this happened, I was elated because I was like, yeah, Rothko's are fucking stupid. And then yeah, I read a bunch of his manifesto about Yellowism, and boy, yeah, it's real smart. It's
What?
I mean, it's like yeah, it doesn't have to actually be yellow to be Yellowism, though. That's the one
Okay.
thing that you would be shocked to understand,
So
because
what
that
happened to this guy?
piece,
Well, tell me. Do you know what
he
happened to
went
this
to
guy? Is he
prison
in
for
jail?
years. I think he might. Yeah, he went to prison for like 2 or 3 years. Yeah, I think he's out now. But yeah, isn't that neat?
That's funny.
Yeah,
That's
no,
funny.
it's hilarious.
There was some crazy guy, and I remember in the Rijksmuseum, since I mentioned it, somebody came in and threw acid on one of the Rembrandts.
What?
Yeah, it was a few years ago now, probably even maybe even close to 10 years. I don't know,
Why did he
like
do that?
7 years ago or something like. I remember reading about it, anyways, and it was shortly after I had been there. Some guy went in and threw acid on one of them. Oh, was it acid or?
It was your buddy, wasn't it?
It was something harsh, some harsh chemical. My buddy,
Yeah,
maybe the construction guy.
yeah,
Yeah, it probably was him. Yeah. But
he had enough.
they managed to clean up. And so what's that? I mean, that is like hatred. That is like that's like hatred of excellence or something. Right? Like that's the kind of like
It's expected at this
hardcore
point. You
commie.
know, I mean, somebody showed me some pictures of these beautiful neoclassical buildings that are in America. I had no idea they're there, and I'm shocked that they're still there. I'm
Right.
shocked that they haven't been targeted. They eventually will be targeted. They will be destroyed. That for sure. I I mean, I had no idea. We have apparently a lot of beautiful things here in America that I've never even heard of. And why is that? That's the next question you have to ask.
Well, you don't. It doesn't get promoted. Not nowadays. Excellence is not on the menu nowadays. But
Oh no.
we know that. We know that. And there's probably nobody. We just have to. I don't know what we have to do. We just have to survive it and hope
What you
that
do
some place of it. What?
if you're listening to this is you contact me or Brendan, uh, but more importantly, me, and have me paint something for you for money.
Yeah, I can do
Yeah.
that too. Although I'm kind of busy, but
Don't listen to him. Don't
I
listen
can
to him
do.
right now.
If it's really
This is
good, I
me.
can do it.
It's
A
me
good
time.
project. Good. Yeah, you time. Yeah, right. And you as well. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
I'm kidding. I'm not kidding
No. Good idea.
about painting though. We both do that. If you want, pay us money to make something that doesn't
Yeah,
look
we're
like
not
a
rookies.
Rothko.
We're not. We don't. It's not like we don't know what we're talking about.
Look,
I
I can
mean,
paint a Rothko if you want me to. Fuck it, man. I mean, you just give me a 40-foot canvas and some.
Yeah, I'll do it for you in a day. Less than a day.
Yeah. Time will
I
not
mean,
be a variable. It will not be, of the medium.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's it. I think we covered Rothko. I mean, maybe there's more to it, but that's good enough.
Yeah, I think we did. I don't.
Just another guy that wasted everyone's time.
Yeah, and sucks. Not good.
Yep.
Not worth spending your time and creative energies standing in front of, looking like a fucking moron. 18 inches away from a painting. If I see somebody like that, well, I'm not going to say I would, but if I saw somebody come up and push them into the Rothko painting, I would probably not cry about it. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. He's just a swarthy chaos merchant.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
That's a band name.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, killer.